Quantum wealth. What happens when you shift your vibrational identity? There's a truth about wealth manifestation that will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about creating abundance. And once you grasp this truth, you'll understand why all your previous attempts at manifesting money have produced inconsistent results at best and complete failure at worst. Here's the truth: you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Let that sink in for a moment. All the vision boards, all the affirmations, all the visualizations in the world won't create lasting wealth if your fundamental identity, who you believe you are at your core, remains unchanged. Your vibrational identity is the single most powerful determinant of your financial reality, and until you shift that identity, you'll keep recreating the same financial circumstances over and over again. Your vibrational identity is not what you say you are or what you wish you were. It's the electromagnetic signature generated by your deepest beliefs about who you are, what you deserve, and what's possible for you. It's the frequency you broadcast consistently, automatically, mostly unconsciously, 24 hours a day. And the quantum field responds to this identity frequency with absolute precision, collapsing realities that match who you actually are rather than who you say you want to become. This is why two people can apply the exact same wealth-building strategies and get completely different results. Their actions might be identical, but their identities are operating at different frequencies, which means they're collapsing different quantum realities. Think about it this way. If your core identity is, "I am someone who struggles with money," then no amount of positive thinking or hard work will create lasting abundance. Why? Because every time you start to experience success, your ego recognizes that success as a threat to your identity. Success means you would have to become someone different, which feels like death to the ego. So your subconscious mind, whose primary job is maintaining the continuity of your identity, will sabotage the success to bring you back to your familiar identity of struggle. You might lose the money through unexpected expenses. You might make poor investment decisions. You might unconsciously create circumstances that confirm your struggling identity. This isn't conscious self-sabotage. This is your system working perfectly to maintain identity coherence, even when that identity is painful. Now consider someone whose core identity is, "I am someone who naturally attracts abundance." When opportunities arise, their ego doesn't see those opportunities as threats, it sees them as confirmations of identity. When money flows in, it feels natural and expected rather than surprising or suspicious. When challenges occur, they interpret them as temporary obstacles rather than evidence of their unworthiness. Their identity frequency broadcasts abundance, so the quantum field delivers circumstances that match that frequency. They're not working harder or using better strategies. They're simply being someone different at the identity level, which causes them to manifest different realities. This is quantum physics, not positive thinking. In quantum mechanics, the observer determines what's observed. But here's what most people miss: you're not observing reality from a neutral position. You're observing reality through the lens of your identity. Your identity acts as a filter that determines what possibilities you can even perceive, let alone manifest. If your identity says, "People like me don't become wealthy," then you literally cannot see opportunities that exist right in front of you because your perceptual filters screen them out. You're blind to possibilities that don't match your identity frequency. This is why identity transformation is not optional if you want lasting wealth. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. The revolutionary implication of this understanding is that you don't need to acquire wealth. You need to become wealthy at the identity level, and the acquisition happens naturally as a result. You don't need to get money. You need to be the person who already has money. The having flows from the being, not the other way around. Most people have this backward. They think, "When I have money, then I'll feel wealthy, then I'll become a wealthy person." But the quantum law is, "When I become a wealthy person, then I'll feel wealthy, then I'll have money." Identity precedes experience. State of being precedes state of having. Who you are determines what you attract. Here's the profound question you need to ask yourself: who am I being when no one is watching? Not who do I present to the world, not who do I aspire to be, But who am I actually being in my private thoughts, my automatic reactions, my unconscious patterns? When you check your bank account, who shows up? Someone confident and abundant, or someone anxious and lacking? When you face a financial decision, who decides? Someone who trusts they'll always have enough, or someone who fears there's never enough? When an opportunity appears, who responds? Someone who expects success, or someone who anticipates failure? The answers to these questions reveal your actual vibrational identity, which is creating your actual financial reality. The good news is that identity is not fixed. You're not stuck being who you've always been. Identity is a construct, a story you've been telling yourself for so long that it feels like truth. But stories can be rewritten. Identity can be transformed. And when you consciously, deliberately shift your vibrational identity from scarcity to abundance, from struggle to ease, from unworthiness to deserving, everything in your external reality reorganizes itself to match your new frequency. This isn't gradual improvement. This is quantum collapse into a completely different reality. The you who struggles with money and the you who effortlessly attracts wealth are both real possibilities existing simultaneously in the quantum field. The question is, which identity are you choosing to embody? Because that choice determines which reality you experience. The architecture of vibrational identity. Now let's break down exactly what vibrational identity is and how it's constructed, because you can't transform what you don't understand. Your vibrational identity is built on three foundational layers: your core beliefs about yourself, your internal narrative, and your energetic signature. These three layers work together to create a consistent frequency that the quantum field reads and responds to. Understanding each layer gives you the power to consciously reconstruct your identity from scarcity to abundance. The first layer is your core beliefs about yourself. These are the deep, often unconscious beliefs that define who you think you are. Examples include, I am capable, I am worthy, I am deserving, or their opposites, I am inadequate, I am unworthy, I am not enough. These core beliefs were installed primarily during childhood, absorbed from parents, teachers, culture, and early experiences. A child who was consistently praised and supported develops different core beliefs than a child who was criticized or neglected. These beliefs become the foundation of identity, the bedrock upon which everything else is built. And here's what's critical. These beliefs operate almost entirely in your subconscious, which means you might not even be aware of what you truly believe about yourself. Your core beliefs about yourself directly determine what you believe is possible for you. If you believe you're capable, then wealth feels possible. If you believe you're inadequate, then wealth feels out of reach. If you believe you're worthy, then receiving abundance feels natural. If you believe you're unworthy, then receiving feels uncomfortable or even wrong. Your financial reality will always match your deepest beliefs about yourself because the quantum field responds to your identity, not your wishes. This is why affirmations often fail. You're trying to override deeply embedded core beliefs with surface-level statements, and the deeper beliefs always win. The second layer is your internal narrative. This is the ongoing story you tell yourself about who you are, what's happened to you, and what's possible for you. Your internal narrative might sound like, I'm the kind of person who always struggles with money. Things never work out for me. I try hard but never get ahead. Other people get lucky but I don't. Or it might sound like, I'm someone who naturally attracts opportunities. Things always work out for my highest good. I'm constantly growing and expanding my wealth. I'm blessed and favored. These narratives are not objective truth. They're interpretations you've constructed based on selective attention to certain experiences while ignoring others. Your internal narrative is incredibly powerful because it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. The story you tell yourself determines what you look for and notice, which reinforces the story, which determines what you experience, which strengthens the story even more. If your narrative is, I'm unlucky with money, you'll notice every financial setback while overlooking financial wins, which confirms your unlucky narrative, which causes you to expect more bad luck, which influences your decisions and energy in ways that create more setbacks. You're trapped in a narrative loop that's creating your reality. But here's the power. Narrative is flexible. You can consciously choose to tell yourself a different story, and as you consistently tell that new story, it becomes your new reality. The third layer is your energetic signature. This is the actual electromagnetic frequency your body generates based on your beliefs and narrative. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every story you tell yourself creates measurable electrical activity in your brain and electromagnetic activity in your heart. These frequencies combine to create your unique energetic signature, the signal you're broadcasting into the quantum field every moment. Your energetic signature is like your vibrational fingerprint. It's absolutely unique to you, and it determines what you attract into your experience. Someone with a scarcity identity has a characteristic energetic signature: contracted, dense, low frequency, characterized by fear, anxiety, and vigilance. Their body is in a chronic state of stress activation. Their heart rate is irregular. Their electromagnetic field is small and weak. They're broadcasting, "I'm not safe, there's not enough, I need to protect myself." The quantum field reads the signature and delivers circumstances that match it. More situations that feel unsafe, more experiences of not enough, more reasons to be in protection mode. Someone with an abundance identity has a completely different energetic signature: expansive, light, high frequency, characterized by trust, gratitude, and openness. Their body is in a state of relaxation and receptivity. Their heart rate is coherent and rhythmic. Their electromagnetic field is large and strong. They're broadcasting, "I'm safe, there's more than enough, I'm open to receiving." The quantum field reads this signature and delivers circumstances that match it. More situations that feel safe, more experiences of abundance, more opportunities to receive. Here's what makes vibrational identity so powerful and so challenging. All three layers must align for transformation to occur. You can't just change your conscious thoughts while maintaining subconscious beliefs of unworthiness. The beliefs will sabotage your thoughts. You can't just tell yourself a new story while maintaining the emotional signature of your old story. Your emotions will contradict your narrative. You can't just try to raise your frequency while believing you're fundamentally inadequate. Your beliefs will keep pulling your frequency down. True identity transformation requires working on all three layers simultaneously. Updating your core beliefs, rewriting your internal narrative, and shifting your energetic signature. The good news is that these three layers are interconnected, which means shifting one layer helps shift the others. When you consciously work on changing your core beliefs about yourself, your narrative naturally begins to shift. When your narrative shifts, your emotional state changes. When your emotional state changes, your energetic signature transforms. When your energetic signature transforms, the quantum field responds with different circumstances, which gives you new evidence that reinforces your new beliefs and narrative. You create an upward spiral rather than the downward spiral most people are trapped in. Understanding this architecture of vibrational identity reveals why conventional approaches to wealth creation so often fail. Most approaches focus on external strategies: make more money, invest wisely, reduce expenses. These strategies can produce temporary improvement, but without identity transformation, you'll eventually return to your baseline because your identity is still broadcasting the same frequency. Or they focus on mindset alone. Think positively, visualize success, without addressing the deeper layers of belief and energetic signature. Real transformation requires working at the identity level, reconstructing all three layers to create a new vibrational identity that naturally, inevitably attracts and maintains wealth. Identifying your current vibrational identity. Before you can transform your vibrational identity, you need to see clearly what your current identity actually is. Most people lie to themselves about this. They tell themselves they're abundant while acting from scarcity. They claim they believe in prosperity while their automatic thoughts reveal deep lack programming. They insist they're worthy while their decisions demonstrate unworthiness. This self-deception keeps them stuck because you cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. So let's do a brutally honest assessment of your current vibrational identity around wealth. Start by examining your automatic thoughts about money. Not the thoughts you try to think, but the thoughts that arise spontaneously when you're not monitoring yourself. What's your first thought when you check your bank account? When a bill arrives. When you see something you want to buy. When you hear about someone else's financial success. When you think about your financial future. Write down these automatic thoughts without censoring or justifying them. These unfiltered thoughts reveal your true beliefs and your actual identity frequency. If your automatic thoughts are predominantly anxious, worried, or resentful, you're in a scarcity identity. If they're predominantly peaceful, trusting, or appreciative, you're in an abundance identity. Next, examine your internal narrative. What story do you consistently tell yourself about your relationship with money? Complete these sentences as honestly as possible. When it comes to money, I am someone who. My financial life has always been. Compared to others, my wealth is. Money and I. The stories that come up reveal your identity. If your stories are about struggle, limitation, and difficulty, that's your identity broadcasting scarcity. If your stories are about ease, expansion, and success, that's your identity broadcasting abundance. Most people discover their internal narrative is far more negative than they consciously realize, which explains why their financial reality isn't matching their conscious desires. Now assess your emotional signature around money. Close your eyes and think about your current financial situation. What emotion arises first? Fear, anxiety, shame, frustration, or peace? Gratitude, confidence, excitement. Your immediate emotional response reveals your identity frequency. Emotions are your body's language, and your body always tells the truth about your actual state. If thinking about money generates low-frequency emotions, fear, anxiety, shame, your identity is aligned with scarcity. If thinking about money generates high-frequency emotions, peace, gratitude, excitement, your identity is aligned with abundance. You can't fake this. Your body knows your true identity even when your mind tries to pretend otherwise. Examine your behavior patterns because behavior reveals identity more accurately than words. How do you actually behave with money? Do you check your account compulsively out of anxiety, or do you check it confidently to stay informed? Do you make financial decisions quickly with trust, or do you agonize over them with fear? Do you spend money on yourself easily, or do you feel guilty every time? Do you invest in your growth readily, or do you resist investing due to scarcity? Do you celebrate financial wins, or do you dismiss them as luck or temporary? Your consistent behaviors are expressions of your identity. Someone with an abundant identity behaves completely differently with money than someone with a scarcity identity. Look at your results because your results are a perfect mirror of your identity. What is your actual financial situation right now? Not what you wish it was, but what it actually is. Your current results are a reflection of the identity you've been embodying consistently. If your results are struggle, limitation, and difficulty, those results are showing you that your identity frequency has been aligned with scarcity. If your results are ease, expansion, and success, those results are showing you that your identity frequency has been aligned with abundance. This isn't judgment, this is data. Your results don't define your worth or your potential. They simply reveal your current identity, which gives you the information you need to shift it. Now here's a crucial question. Who do you become under financial pressure? Because your true identity shows up most clearly when you're stressed or triggered. When an unexpected expense arises, who shows up? Someone who trusts they'll handle it, or someone who panics about scarcity? When you face a financial setback, who responds? Someone who sees it as temporary contrast, or someone who sees it as confirmation of their lack? When you're tempted by an impulse purchase, who decides? Someone who makes aligned choices from abundance, or someone who either deprives themselves from lack or overspends to compensate for lack? Your stressed, triggered self reveals your actual identity beneath the persona you present when things are comfortable. Another revealing assessment is your comparative identity. Do you see yourself as wealthier or poorer than others? More successful or less successful? More deserving or less deserving? Comparison is a powerful identity indicator. If you consistently compare yourself unfavorably to others, positioning yourself as less than, that positioning is your identity broadcasting. If you see yourself as equal to or ahead of others in wealth potential, that positioning is also your identity. Healthy abundance identity doesn't need to compare at all. It simply knows, I am abundant, as an independent truth not dependent on anyone else's status. Finally, examine your relationship with receiving. How comfortable are you receiving money, compliments, help, gifts, opportunities? Do you receive graciously and easily, or do you deflect, minimize, or feel you must immediately reciprocate? Your capacity to receive is directly connected to your identity. If your identity says, I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve, you'll block receiving even when abundance is trying to reach you. If your identity says, I'm worthy, and I deserve, you'll receive naturally and easily. Many people sabotage their abundance not through their efforts to create it, but through their inability to receive it when it arrives. This assessment might be uncomfortable. You might discover your actual identity is far more aligned with scarcity than you thought. But this awareness is not bad news, it's empowering news. Because now you know exactly what needs to shift. You're not confused about why money isn't flowing. You're not wondering why manifestation isn't working. You can see clearly that your identity has been broadcasting a frequency that creates the results you've been getting. And identity can be transformed. Who you've been is not who you must continue to be. The assessment gives you your starting point. The process of vibrational identity transformation. Now we get to the heart of everything. How do you actually transform your vibrational identity from scarcity to abundance? This is not a quick fix or a simple technique. This is deep work that requires commitment, consistency, and courage. But this work produces results that no surface-level strategy ever could because you're transforming at the level of cause rather than trying to manipulate effects. When you shift your identity, everything else shifts automatically. Here's the systematic process for vibrational identity transformation. Step 1 is conscious identity design. You need to get crystal clear on who you're becoming. Not vague wishes like someone wealthy, but specific, detailed clarity about the exact identity you're choosing to embody. Ask yourself, who am I in my most abundant reality? What do I believe about myself? What's my internal narrative? How do I feel about myself and money? How do I behave? How do I make decisions? What's my energetic signature? Spend time really developing this vision of your new identity. Write it out in detail. Create an identity statement that captures the essence of who you're becoming. Example, I am someone who naturally attracts wealth. Money flows to me easily from multiple sources. I make decisions confidently and trust my intuition. I invest in myself readily because I know I'm worth it. I receive abundantly and give generously. I am worthy, capable, and deserving of unlimited prosperity. Step 2 is belief excavation and replacement. You need to identify and uproot the limiting beliefs that have been supporting your old identity. Go back to your assessment. What beliefs about yourself came up? I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, I'm not smart enough, I'm too old/young, people like me don't succeed, I always mess things up. Write down every limiting belief you can identify. Then for each one, ask, is this actually true, or is this just a story I've been believing? Where did this belief come from? What would be true if I released this belief? Then consciously create an empowering replacement belief. I'm not good enough becomes, I am constantly growing and becoming more capable. I don't deserve it becomes, I absolutely deserve prosperity. I always mess things up becomes, I learn from every experience and continually improve. The replacement belief must feel reachable from where you are now, not so far beyond your current belief that your mind rejects it completely. Step 3 is narrative rewriting. You're going to consciously author a new story about yourself and your relationship with wealth. This isn't about denying your past or pretending previous struggles didn't happen. This is about reinterpreting your experiences through the lens of your new identity. Old narrative, I've always struggled with money. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm just not lucky. New narrative, I'm in the process of transforming my relationship with money. Every experience has taught me valuable lessons that are helping me grow. I'm becoming someone who naturally attracts abundance, and evidence of this is showing up more every day. Notice the new narrative acknowledges reality while framing it as a growth process rather than a fixed limitation. It tells a story of becoming rather than a story of being stuck. Step 4 is emotional recalibration. Your emotions must match your new identity or the transformation won't stick. You need to practice feeling the emotions associated with your abundant identity daily until they become your new baseline. What emotions does your abundant self experience regularly? Confidence, peace, gratitude, excitement, freedom. Spend at least 10 minutes every day consciously generating these emotions in your body. Don't wait to feel them, create them intentionally. The more you practice feeling like your abundant identity, the more your nervous system accepts this as your new normal. Your body starts broadcasting the energetic signature of abundance rather than scarcity. This emotional practice is non-negotiable because emotion is the language your body speaks, and your body is your most powerful transmitter. Step 5 is behavioral alignment. You need to start acting as your new identity would act, even before your circumstances have fully shifted. This is called acting as if, but it's not pretending, it's practicing. Ask yourself constantly, what would my abundant identity do in this situation? Then do that, even when it feels uncomfortable. Maybe your abundant identity would invest in that course without agonizing over the cost. Maybe they would tip generously. Maybe they would dress well and take care of their appearance. Maybe they would speak confidently about their value. Maybe they would say no to opportunities that don't align with their worth. Every behavior that matches your new identity strengthens that identity and sends a signal to the quantum field that this is who you are now. Step 6 is evidence collection for your new identity. Your brain will look for evidence to support whatever you focus on. Right now, it's probably looking for evidence that supports your old identity of struggle or limitation. Consciously redirect your brain to look for evidence of your new identity. Every day, ask yourself, what evidence did I notice today that I'm becoming my abundant identity? Maybe you made a confident financial decision. Maybe you received unexpected money. Maybe you noticed an opportunity you would have missed before. Maybe you felt calm about money instead of anxious. Maybe you invested in yourself. Any evidence of your new identity, no matter how small, gets acknowledged and celebrated. This trains your brain to find more evidence, which reinforces your new identity, which generates more aligned circumstances. Step 7 is identity immersion. Surround yourself with the energy of your new identity as much as possible. Who embodies the identity you're claiming? Study them. What do they read? What do they listen to? Where do they spend time? What do they talk about? How do they think? Immerse yourself in this world. Not to compare or to make yourself feel inadequate, but to normalize your new identity. When you're constantly exposed to people and environments that reflect your abundant identity, that identity starts to feel natural rather than aspirational. You're training your system to see abundance as normal, which dramatically accelerates your identity transformation. Step 8 is consistent identity declaration. Every single day, multiple times per day, declare your new identity out loud with conviction and emotion. I am someone who naturally attracts wealth. I am worthy of unlimited prosperity. I am confident and capable with money. I am abundant. These declarations, spoken with feeling and frequency, install new programming in your subconscious. Your subconscious mind learns through repetition and emotion. The more you declare your new identity with genuine feeling, the more your subconscious accepts it as truth and begins operating from that truth automatically. This 8-step process is not linear. You'll be working on all steps simultaneously and cycling through them repeatedly. Identity transformation doesn't happen in a weekend. It happens through consistent daily practice over weeks and months until one day you realize you're not trying to be your abundant identity anymore. You simply are that identity. The thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and frequency of abundance have become automatic. And when that happens, your external reality has no choice but to reflect your new identity. Money flows naturally. Opportunities appear effortlessly. Abundance becomes your normal rather than your exception. Living as your abundant identity, the new reality. Now let's explore what your life looks like when you've successfully transformed your vibrational identity from scarcity to abundance. Because this transformation isn't just about making more money. It's about fundamentally changing who you are and how you experience reality. When your identity shifts at the quantum level, everything shifts. Your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors, your relationships, your opportunities, and yes, your financial reality. All of it reorganizes itself to match your new frequency. This is the power of identity transformation. This is what happens when you truly become someone different. The first thing you'll notice is that your internal experience changes dramatically. The constant anxiety about money that used to run in the background of your mind simply isn't there anymore. You think about money calmly, confidently, peacefully. When you check your bank account, there's no spike of fear or dread, just neutral awareness or even pleasant anticipation. When bills arrive, you don't panic. You handle them matter-of-factly, trusting that you have or will have what's needed. When opportunities appear, you don't immediately doubt whether you're qualified. You naturally consider whether they align with your vision and values. Your internal state around money becomes one of trust, ease, and confidence rather than fear, stress, and scarcity. This shift in internal experience is profound and life-changing even before your external circumstances fully reflect your new identity. Your decision-making transforms completely. In your old scarcity identity, decisions were agonizing. You second-guessed yourself constantly. You overanalyzed every option. You made choices from fear of loss rather than vision of gain. In your new abundance identity, decisions become clear and relatively easy. You trust your intuition. You make choices quickly because you're aligned with your values and confident in your worthiness. You say yes to investments in yourself without agonizing. You say no to opportunities that don't fit without guilt or fear of missing out. You make decisions from abundance, what serves my highest vision, rather than from scarcity, what's safest and least risky. This clarity in decision-making leads to exponentially better outcomes because you're choosing from your highest wisdom rather than your survival fears. Your behavior patterns shift naturally without force or discipline. In your old identity, you might have had to force yourself to save money, resist impulse purchases, or invest in growth. These behaviors required willpower because they contradicted your identity. In your new identity, abundant behaviors become natural expressions of who you are. You save because that's what abundant people do. You invest in yourself readily because you know you're worth it. You spend mindfully but not from deprivation. You give generously because you trust the flow. You take care of your appearance and environment because you value yourself. None of this requires force. It flows naturally from your identity. This is why identity transformation is so powerful. You don't have to rely on willpower to override your nature. You transform your nature, and new behaviors emerge organically. Your relationships evolve as your identity shifts. People who were in your life when you embodied scarcity identity might not fit anymore. Some relationships will naturally fade because you're no longer a frequency match. Other relationships will deepen as those people rise with you. And new people will enter your life who match your new frequency. People who are also abundant, successful, growth-oriented. You'll find yourself having completely different conversations, receiving different opportunities through these relationships, experiencing different levels of support and collaboration. This isn't about abandoning people or becoming elitist. It's simply the natural consequence of frequency shift. Like attracts like. When you change your frequency, you attract people who match that new frequency. Money starts flowing differently in your new identity. In your old identity, money came irregularly, unpredictably, usually with struggle. You had to chase it, force it, work hard for every dollar. In your new identity, money flows more consistently, from multiple sources, often with surprising ease. You might receive unexpected checks, surprise refunds, bonuses you didn't anticipate. Opportunities might appear that you weren't even looking for. Clients might seek you out, rather than you having to prospect. Income might increase not because you're working more hours but because you're operating at a higher value level. This isn't magic. This is the quantum field responding to your new identity frequency. You're broadcasting abundance, so the field delivers circumstances that match abundance. You'll experience synchronicities and lucky coincidences regularly. In your old identity, you might have felt unlucky, like things never worked out for you. In your new identity, you'll notice that things line up perfectly with increasing frequency. You think of someone and they call. You need something and it appears. You wonder about an opportunity and it presents itself. The right people show up at the right time. Resources appear exactly when needed. This isn't actually luck, it's alignment. When your identity is aligned with abundance, you become a powerful magnet for synchronistic events because you're in flow with the quantum field rather than working against it. These synchronicities become so common that you start to expect them rather than being surprised by them. Your resilience increases dramatically. In your old identity, setbacks would spiral you into fear, doubt, and sometimes despair. A financial challenge would trigger your scarcity identity and you'd struggle to recover. In your new identity, you handle setbacks with remarkable equanimity. You don't interpret challenges as evidence of your inadequacy or the universe being against you. You see them as temporary obstacles, opportunities to learn, or redirections towards something better. You bounce back faster because your identity isn't threatened by temporary circumstances. You know who you are regardless of what's currently happening, and that knowing creates an unshakable foundation. You also develop what I call abundant generosity. In scarcity identity, generosity feels threatening. Giving money away feels like losing something you might not get back. In abundance identity, generosity feels natural and good. You tip well. You give to causes you care about. You invest in other people's success. You share resources, knowledge, and opportunities freely. This generosity isn't forced or performative, it's a genuine expression of your abundance identity. And interestingly, this generosity creates even more flow in your life. The more you give from authentic abundance, the more you receive. The quantum field rewards circulation over hoarding. Perhaps most importantly, your relationship with yourself transforms. In scarcity identity, you probably had a critical, harsh inner voice that constantly told you that you weren't enough. In abundance identity, you develop genuine self-compassion and self-appreciation. You see yourself as worthy, capable, and deserving. You treat yourself with kindness. You speak to yourself with respect. You celebrate your wins rather than dismissing them. You forgive your mistakes rather than weaponizing them against yourself. This improved self-relationship is perhaps the most valuable outcome of identity transformation because it affects every area of your life, not just your finances. Living as your abundant identity becomes effortless after a while. In the beginning, you have to consciously practice the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of your new identity. It requires awareness and intentionality. But over time, with consistent practice, the new identity becomes automatic. You stop having to remind yourself to think abundant thoughts, you just do. You stop having to consciously generate abundant emotions, you naturally feel them. You stop having to force abundant behaviors, they flow from you organically. Your abundant identity becomes who you are, not something you're trying to be. And when that happens, your financial reality stabilizes at a new level because you're consistently broadcasting a new frequency. Here's the truth I want you to carry forward: you are not stuck being who you've been. Your current identity was constructed through years of experiences, programming, and repetition. And it can be deconstructed and reconstructed through conscious choice, commitment, and new repetition. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. So the question isn't, how do I get more money? The question is, who do I need to become to be a match for the wealth I desire? Answer that question. Become that person. And watch as your reality transforms to match your new vibrational identity. Your abundant identity is waiting for you. It exists right now in the quantum field as a potential reality. The version of you who naturally attracts wealth, who feels worthy and confident, who makes decisions with ease, who lives in flow, that version is real. They're not someone you'll become someday. They're someone you can choose to be today. And every day you show up as that identity, you strengthen it. Every thought you think as that person, every emotion you feel as that person, every behavior you express as that person, you're collapsing that quantum reality into your physical experience. This is not fantasy. This is quantum mechanics. You are the observer. Your identity determines what you observe. Shift your identity, and you shift your entire reality. The power has always been yours. Now you know exactly how to use it. Welcome to your new identity. Welcome to quantum wealth.